You want to do what with the humans? High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline appendages trembled, sending prismatic reflections dancing across the Grand Chamber's obsidian walls. Have you completely lost whatever passes for sanity among your species? Ambassador Krellin of the Drachnid Imperium maintained his characteristic smugness, all 6 of his eyes blinking in calculated sequence. The humans are primitive, barely space-capable, and completely insignificant. Involving them in our conflict with the Arxos Confederation will demonstrate our tactical superiority while providing minimal risk. The assembled council members exchanged worried glances. Several species simultaneously engaged their universal translators' mute functions to share concerned expletives in their native tongues. Minimal risk? Elder Valon's bioluminescent patches flashed warning patterns. Tell me, Ambassador, have you actually studied Earth's historical records? Of course. A species that took nearly 3 centuries to progress from primitive chemical propulsion to basic interplanetary travel. Their technological development is practically glacial. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form vibrated at a frequency that indicated extreme agitation. Ambassador, I strongly suggest you access the Council's comprehensive analysis of human conflict resolution methodologies before proceeding with this ill-advised course of action. I fail to see. Computer, Valon interrupted, their bioluminescence now practically strobing. Display historical file E1914, subsection How Humans Respond to Seemingly Minor Provocations. The chamber's holographic display sprang to life, projecting a series of images that caused several council members to reflexively engage their species' equivalent of nausea suppression systems. This, Valon continued, is what humans did to each other over the assassination of a single regional authority figure. 1 death. The resulting conflict involved most of their planet and resulted in approximately 40 million casualties. Krellin's smugness wavered slightly. That was over a century ago. Surely they've evolved beyond. Computer, display historical file E1939. The images changed. More council members activated their nausea suppression systems. Their second planetary conflict, casualties estimated between 70 and 85 million, started partly because the resolution of the first conflict was deemed unsatisfactory. Ambassador Krellin's outer eye pairs had stopped blinking entirely. But, computer, display the Chocolate War incident. The holographic display showed a relatively modern human space station. Several council members instinctively backed away from the image. 3 years ago, 2 human corporations engaged in what they termed a minor trade dispute over the rights to produce a specific variety of confectionery in low Earth orbit. The resulting corporate espionage campaign culminated in one company's CEO sending the other a formal declaration of war via something called Twitter. Surely that's an exaggerate. Within 24 hours, both corporations had weaponized their orbital manufacturing platforms. Within 48 hours, they had hired private military contractors. Within 72 hours, they had somehow acquired surplus military hardware that even our intelligence services can't fully account for. The only reason it didn't escalate further was because both CEOs' grandmothers intervened and demanded they stop this nonsense right now, young man. The chamber fell silent, except for the soft hum of various species' anxiety management implants working overtime. But that's not even the concerning part, Valon continued, their bioluminescence now pulsing in complex patterns that translated roughly to, "You sweet summer child." Computer, display analysis report, H2167, human response to external threats. The holographic display filled with graphs, charts, and what appeared to be psychological profile data. Humans possess a remarkable characteristic. They can turn literally anything into a weapon. Our xenoanthropologists call it weaponized ingenuity. During one of their regional conflicts, they transformed cooking implements into combat tools so effectively that several common kitchen items are now banned in 17 star systems. That's impressive, Krellin admitted reluctantly. But surely, they once won a battle by weaponizing weather. They figured out how to turn rain into a tactical advantage. Rain. Do you understand what kind of mind it takes to look at precipitation and think, yes, I can use this to defeat my enemies? High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form emitted a soft chiming sound that the universal translators rendered as a weary sigh. Ambassador, let me be perfectly clear. Humans don't just engage in warfare. They revolutionize it. Every time. without fail. They treat armed conflict the way other species treat scientific research. They innovate. But we're significantly more advanced. Are we? Valon interrupted again. Computer, display the Proxima Centauri incident. The holographic display showed what appeared to be the aftermath of an explosion. Several council members immediately engaged their emergency meditation protocols. Last year, a human research vessel encountered a previously unknown spatial anomaly in the Proxima Centauri system. When their initial scans proved inconclusive, do you know what they did? They threw a rock at it. What? They threw a rock at it. Not just any rock. A specially designed probe that they classified as a rock. Because, and I quote, technically anything can be a rock if you think about it hard enough. The resulting data revolutionized our understanding of quantum gravitational mechanics. But that's not even the worst part, Zixtal added. When asked why they chose this methodology, the human chief scientist said, and this is a direct quote, well, if it exploded, we'd know it was dangerous, and if it didn't explode, we could try throwing a bigger rock. Ambassador Krellin's outer eyes had developed a noticeable twitch. Surely you're exaggerating. Computer, display the Mars terraforming incident. The holographic display showed a series of images of the red planet, progressively becoming greener. The last time we tried to understand human cuisine, 3 of our top xenoanthropologists had to take extended sabbaticals. Something about a dish called pineapple pizza causing an existential crisis. Ambassador Krellin stood silently for a long moment, all 6 eyes focused on the continuing display of human achievements, disasters, and achievements that were indistinguishable from disasters. He began, then stopped, started again. I believe I will recommend to the Imperium that we seek alternative strategies for our conflict with the Arxos Confederation. Wise choice, Zixtal chimed. Perhaps consider diplomatic solutions? Yes, Krellin said quickly. Diplomacy. Diplomacy is good. Diplomacy doesn't involve humans throwing rocks at things to see what happens. As the ambassador hurried from the chamber, Valon's bioluminescence formed a pattern that could only be translated as cosmic irony. Should we tell him that humans once achieved peace between 2 warring nations by getting their leaders drunk and making them sign a treaty on a napkin? No, Zixtal replied, their crystalline form resonating with what might have been laughter. Let him figure that out on his own. In the meantime, let's update the Council's official advisory on human involvement in interstellar conflicts. What's the current advisory? Don't. And the new one? Seriously, don't. They will either solve your problem in a way that defies all known laws of physics, or they will turn your problem into such a fascinating new problem that everyone will forget what the original problem was. Either way, you're not ready for that kind of solution. The council members unanimously agreed, then immediately called for a recess to update their anxiety management systems. As they filed out of the chamber, the holographic display continued cycling through images of human achievements, each more improbable than the last. In the corner, a small notation flashed briefly. Addendum to Human Strategic Analysis. They appear to operate on the principle that anything is possible if you're willing to ignore enough warning labels. Update threat assessment accordingly. The computer dutifully logged this update, then added its own observation. Note: humans have begun referring to warning labels as challenge descriptions. Recommend immediate upgrade to all council members' anxiety management systems. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened precisely 3 standard cycles after Ambassador Krellin's hasty departure. The reason for the session became apparent when the holographic displays activated, showing real-time footage of the Drachnid Imperium's diplomatic fleet approaching Earth's solar system. They didn't. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form vibrated at frequencies typically associated with extreme distress. Please tell me they didn't. According to our intelligence reports, Elder Valon reported, their bioluminescence pulsing in emergency patterns. The Imperium's Strategic Command concluded that Ambassador Krellin's assessment was, and I quote, unnecessarily cautious. They have designated Earth as a strategic demonstration opportunity. The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of multi-species anxiety responses. Several members simultaneously accessed their personal terminals to update their insurance policies. How long until first contact? Zixtal inquired, their crystalline lattice already showing stress fractures. Approximately 17 Earth hours, Valon responded. However, the humans have already noticed them. Already? But the Drachnid fleet is using our most advanced cloaking technology. Yes. Valon's bioluminescence flickered in what the universal translators interpreted as resigned amusement. The humans detected them using something called Snapchat filters. What? Apparently, a human adolescent was attempting to add artificial embellishments to their personal image capture when they noticed anomalous readings in the background. They posted about it on something called Reddit. And within hours, the human scientific community had reverse-engineered the principles of our cloaking technology. The council chamber fell silent except for the soft hum of anxiety management implants working at maximum capacity. They've already named the approaching vessels, Valon continued. Steve appears to be the frontrunner, followed closely by Big Chungus and Bodie McBoatface in space. They're naming warships after internet memes? A junior council member inquired, immediately regretting their demonstration of knowledge about human digital culture. More importantly, Zixtal interrupted, what is their response to the approaching fleet? Valon's bioluminescence formed patterns that the universal translators struggled to render before settling on profound concern with a side of morbid fascination. The humans have initiated what they're calling protocol. Well, this should be interesting. Their space forces are on high alert, but... Valon paused, checking their data streams. They appear to be more excited than alarmed. Excited? Yes. Their primary space defense coordination channel is currently filled with references to something called Independence Day, and debate about whether they should greet the Drachnid fleet with, and I quote, the traditional Earth welcome of throwing rocks at it or something more festive. The council members collectively engaged their emergency meditation protocols. Define festive, Zixtal requested, despite their better judgment. According to human communications we've intercepted, options under consideration include converting their orbital defense platforms into what they call a space rave, programming their defense drones to perform something called the Macarena, and, this is causing particular concern among our analysts, implementing what they're calling Project Hold My Beer Phase 2. Do we want to know what Phase 1 was? That was the Star Containment Project. Zixtal's crystalline form emitted harmonics that suggested both dread and curiosity. And Phase 2? Unknown. But human scientists are describing it as spicy. The council chamber's emergency lighting activated as multiple species anxiety management systems simultaneously triggered building-wide safety protocols. We need to intervene, a council member suggested. The Drachnid Imperium doesn't understand what they're about to encounter. 2 advanced alien fleets are converging on Earth. Zixtal summarized, their crystalline structure showing signs of stress-induced refraction. And the humans are excited about this? More than excited, Valon confirmed. They've just initiated something called Protocol Party Crashers. Their global communication networks are overwhelmed with what they call memes about hosting the galaxy's first interstellar war, as if it were a social gathering. A party? Yes. They're currently debating whether to serve something called pizza rolls or hot pockets to their uninvited guests. Both options appear to be causing considerable concern among our xenobiologists. The Council's holographic displays updated to show new data streams. The images caused several members to immediately engage their species equivalent of panic rooms. Are they? Zixtal began, their voice crackling with crystalline distortion. Are they converting their orbital defense satellites into what appear to be entertainment lighting systems? Yes, Valon confirmed. They're calling it Operation Space Disco. But that's not the concerning part. What could possibly be more concerning than that? They've just uploaded what they're calling a playlist to all their defense systems. The first track is something called Never Gonna Give You Up. The council chamber erupted in chaos as multiple species simultaneously recognized the significance of this development. They're going to rickroll 2 of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy? A junior member asked, their translator struggling to convey the appropriate level of disbelief, while simultaneously preparing what they're calling the biggest crossover event in history, Valon confirmed. They've already started taking bets on which fleet will appreciate Earth music more. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form emitted a series of harmonics that the universal translators rendered as hysterical laughter. We should warn them, someone suggested. Warn who? Zixtal asked. The fleets or the humans? Yes. Before anyone could act on this suggestion, the holographic displays updated again. The new data caused several council members to immediately schedule therapy sessions. The humans have just activated something they're calling Project Welcome Wagon. Valon reported. They've somehow converted their lunar base into what they're describing as the galaxy's biggest disco ball. They've weaponized their only natural satellite? No, Valon corrected, their bioluminescence pulsing in patterns of bewildered admiration. They've turned it into an entertainment venue. They're calling it Luna Park, where every first contact is a party. The council chamber fell silent as the implications of this development sank in. So, Zixtal summarized, their crystalline form now showing signs of what human psychologists might term acceptance. Two of the galaxy's most powerful military forces are about to encounter a species that responds to potential invasion by planning a party. A party, Valon confirmed, featuring weapons-grade hospitality, tactical entertainment systems, and something they're calling Earth's Greatest Hits, the Rickroll Edition. Should we intervene? I believe, Valon replied, their bioluminescence forming patterns that suggested both amusement and resignation. That we should prepare to update our database of things humans do that defy both logic and physics with a new category, diplomatic innovations that shouldn't work but probably will. The council unanimously agreed to this proposal, then immediately called for another recess to upgrade their anxiety management systems yet again. As they filed out of the chamber, the holographic displays showed the approaching fleets, the increasingly festive Earth Orbital Defense Network, and a small notation that read, Addendum to Human Strategic Analysis. They appear to have weaponized hospitality. Update threat assessment accordingly. The computer dutifully logged this update, then added its own observation. Note: humans have begun referring to first contact protocols as party planning. Recommend immediate installation of entertainment-grade anxiety management systems for all council members. In the empty chamber, the displays continued to show the unfolding situation, as humanity prepared to greet two hostile alien fleets with what they were now calling Operation Galaxy's Got Talent, Earth Audition Episode. The universe, it seemed, was not ready for human party planning. The Galactic Council's emergency session reconvened amid unprecedented circumstances. The holographic displays now showed what could only be described as the most improbable diplomatic event in recorded galactic history. Status report, High Counselor Zixtal requested, their crystalline form exhibiting what xenopsychologists had recently termed human-induced stress patterns. Elder Valon's bioluminescence flickered in complex patterns that the universal translators interpreted as professional bewilderment. The humans have successfully intercepted both fleets, Valon reported. However, their method of interception has caused considerable confusion among our military analysts. Elaborate, Zixtal commanded, already anticipating regret. The humans activated their lunar entertainment complex, designated Luna Park, precisely as both fleets entered the solar system. They then proceeded to broadcast what they termed Earth's Greatest Hits on all known communication frequencies. The results? Both the Drachnid and Arxos fleets are currently in stable orbit around Earth's moon, participating in what humans are calling the First Intergalactic Battle of the Bands. The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of multi-species confusion responses. They transformed an impending interstellar conflict into a music competition? A junior council member inquired, their universal translator struggling with the concept. Affirmative, Valon confirmed. The Drachnid fleet, after experiencing something called Never Gonna Give You Up, responded by transmitting their own cultural music. The Arxos, not to be outdone, began broadcasting their ceremonial war symphonies. The humans declared this the beginning of, and I quote, Space Eurovision, First Contact Edition. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline structure emitted harmonics that suggested both disbelief and resignation. And the military situation? Technically non-existent, Valon replied. The humans have somehow convinced both fleets that demonstrating cultural superiority through musical performance is more important than military engagement. They're calling it Beats Not Bombs, the remix. But surely the fleet commanders realize the Drachnid Admiral has already submitted a formal request for what humans call DJ equipment, while the Arxos commander is demanding access to something termed auto-tune. The council chamber fell silent, except for the soft hum of anxiety management implants attempting to process this information. Furthermore, Valon continued, their bioluminescence now pulsing in patterns that indicated both amusement and concern. The humans have established a scoring system based on what they call crowd reaction and technical execution. They've appointed a panel of judges consisting of 3 humans, a reprogrammed maintenance drone they've named Simon, and something called a TikTok algorithm. The military implications, a council member began, are currently being overshadowed by what humans term sick beats and epic drops. Valon interrupted. The Drachnid fleet has already been penalized for what the judges called lack of stage presence, while the Arxos received a warning for excessive use of autotune. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form vibrated at frequencies typically associated with suppressed laughter. And the diplomatic situation? Complex, Valon admitted. Both fleets are now more concerned with their performance scores than their military objectives. The Drachnid Admiral has requested Earth's historical musical archives for study, while the Arxos commander is attempting to incorporate something called dubstep into their traditional war chants. The humans have effectively neutralized 2 hostile fleets by making them compete in a talent show? Not just compete, Valon corrected. They've created what they're calling the Galaxy's Got Talent, Peace Through Sick Beats initiative. They're already planning tournament brackets and discussing streaming rights. The Council's holographic displays updated to show the current situation. The images caused several members to immediately schedule cultural sensitivity training. Is that the Drachnid flagship performing what appears to be a synchronized dance routine? Yes, Valon confirmed. They're attempting something called the electric slide. The Arxos fleet is preparing to counter with their interpretation of the Macarena. And Earth's defensive posture? They've converted their orbital defense grid into what they're calling the galaxy's biggest sound system. Their military strategists are now referring to themselves as party planners and event coordinators. The council chamber erupted in another round of multi-species anxiety responses as the displays showed new developments. The humans have just announced the next phase of their initiative, Valon reported. They're calling it Operation Galactic Harmony. Dare I ask what that entails? They're organizing what they term a collaborative album, featuring musicians from all 3 species. The working title is First Contact, the Remix. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form emitted harmonics that the universal translators rendered as hysterical acceptance. So we've gone from imminent interstellar war to interspecies musical collaboration? Correct. The humans are already discussing merchandising rights and concert tour schedules. They've termed it the No More War Tour, dropping beats not bombs. The council members collectively engaged their emergency meditation protocols as the implications became clear. They've weaponized entertainment, someone observed. No, Valon corrected, their bioluminescence forming patterns of profound realization. They've weaponized peace through the medium of entertainment. The humans have somehow managed to make diplomacy fun. Should we update our protocols? I believe, Zixtal chimed, their crystalline structure now showing signs of what human sociologists might term enlightenment, that we should prepare to completely rewrite our understanding of diplomatic relations. The humans have just invented what they're calling party diplomacy. The council unanimously agreed to establish a new department, the Bureau of Human-Inspired Diplomatic Entertainment Relations, BIHDR. As they drafted the preliminary guidelines, the holographic displays showed the Drachnid and Arxos fleets engaged in what humans were calling the galaxy's first space rave. The computer dutifully logged these developments, adding a final observation. Note: humans have successfully converted potential apocalyptic conflict into profitable entertainment venture. Recommend immediate review of all diplomatic protocols to include party potential assessment. In Earth orbit, the combined fleets prepared for what humans had dubbed the greatest show in the galaxy, while Earth's diplomatic corps began planning what they called the after-party, where peace gets funky. The universe, it seemed, was about to learn that humans had perfected the art of peace through partying. The Galactic Council convened for what they hoped would be their final emergency session regarding the Earth situation. The holographic displays now showed something that would have been inconceivable mere cycles ago. A joint peacekeeping fleet comprised of Drachnid, Arxos, and human vessels, all decorated with what humans called festival lighting. Status report on Operation Galactic Harmony? High Counselor Zixtal requested, their crystalline structure now exhibiting what xenopsychologists had termed acceptance patterns with undertones of bemusement. Elder Valon's bioluminescence pulsed in what the universal translators interpreted as professional amazement. The joint peacekeeping initiative has exceeded all projected outcomes, Valon reported. The Humans No More War Tour has completed its first galactic circuit. The collaborative album, First Contact the Remix, has achieved platinum status in 17 star systems. And the diplomatic implications? Unprecedented. The Drachnid Imperium and Arxos Confederation have formally suspended their conflict in favor of what they're calling the Greater Galactic Entertainment Coalition. Their combined cultural exchange program has become the most successful diplomatic initiative in recorded history. The council chamber hummed with the sound of anxiety management implants being reprogrammed for what their manufacturers termed positive stress. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form emitted harmonics that the universal translators rendered as profound appreciation. I believe it's time to officially recognize humanity's contribution to galactic peace. They've already suggested a ceremony, Valon noted. They're calling it the Galactic Grammy Awards Peace Edition. The Council unanimously approved the establishment of a permanent human advisory committee on diplomatic entertainment relations. As they formalized the resolution, the displays showed the combined fleet performing what humans called the galaxy's biggest flash mob. The computer added its final observation. Note: humans have successfully redefined peace as a party that never ends. Recommend immediate implementation of dance floors in all diplomatic facilities. In the space lanes between worlds, ships once designed for war now carried musicians, dancers, and what humans called intergalactic food truck flotillas. The universe had learned that when humans said, "make love, not war," they meant make music, share food, and dance together. Peace, it turned out, had a rhythm, and humanity had taught the galaxy how to dance to it. The end.